AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Welcome. It's good you're here. It's the John Kobylt Show. And we're on from 3 to 6 every day. And if you miss anything, and you should never miss anything, but if you do, the podcast just after 6 o'clock is released. John Kobylt Show on demand. Same as the radio show. You just demand it and you get it. And also, we're live on YouTube now and live on X, Twitter. Subscribe, become a member at youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow, youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. So that's how you can hear us and when you can hear us and how you can watch us. And we've got a lot of good stuff coming up today. Coming up after 3:30. Coming up after 3:30, we're going to have a bit of a celebration because a guy who's been a pain in the ass for 27 years to us is a big step closer to federal prison. And if I could lead him in handcuffs and strip search him myself, I would do so. Mark Ridley Thomas lost a big round in the appeals court, and I'm going to give you a little history. He most recently was an LA County supervisor convicted of bribery, and the 3-judge Court of Appeals panel upheld the conviction. And he's going to prison, but he's got another appeal. So he says they're going to go to the full Court of Appeals, not just the 3-judge panel. But I'm going to enjoy just because, well, you know, I'm not going to enjoy it that much because he should be in prison by now. And he's 71 years old, and he's been delaying it with these stupid appeals. He did the crime. It's pretty clear. He deserves federal prison. And anyway, we're going to enjoy this coming up after 3:30. Carl DeMaio is on after 4 o'clock because he wants to talk about the voter ID proposition that he got on the ballot. And Rob Bonta, that little gerbil, rewrote the title and summary to try to depress the yes vote, to confuse the public. And that case is before a judge, and the results coming out on Thursday. So we're going to talk to Carl in advance of the judge's decision. Now, one of the big stories today is they have the official report of what caused the fire in Altadena, which burned at the same time as the Palisades fire. There was no surprise new information, just a confirmation of what everybody suspected. Southern California Edison caused the fire. That Southern California Edison is not climate change, all right? Southern California Edison is the utility, like PG&E, that doesn't maintain its electrical equipment, and then eventually, as what happened with PG&E in the Paradise Fire, the electrical equipment fails, shorts out, causes a fire, and then lots of people die and thousands of homes get burned. But that's Southern California Edison. By the way, SoCal Edison and PG&E, huge donors to Gavin Newsom, who then gives these companies a big break to make sure that either taxpayers or ratepayers have to pay all the lawsuit damages that SoCal Edison or PG&E suffer. But here's the SoCal Edison story, January 2025. So they've taken 18 months to review this, and they concluded that the fire was due to an electrical arcing event that took place on the out-of-service Southern California Edison Tower. Now, what phrase jumps out at you there? The out-of-service tower. And I've seen other situations where supposedly dead fire equipment comes back to life and causes a fire that leads to a lot of damage and or deaths. The report lists 8 violations of state criminal and public utility codes tied to SoCal Edison, but they redacted the details. Why don't we have the details? Well, supposedly it has to run by the LA County DA's office. I think the way to solve these problems, in fact, a way to solve a lot of like corporate bad behavior, is start putting executives in prison. Give him the Mark Ridley Thomas treatment. You put the SoCal Edison president in prison, they're going to make sure that out of service electrical towers, there's no way these things can create an electrical charge. So this goes back. Remember, I think PG&E was involved in a natural gas explosion going back to 2010 in Northern California. And repeatedly with these fires, the utility companies are blamed, but nobody goes to prison. Instead, if it gets really bad, like at PG&E, all the executives resign and get multi-million-dollar golden parachutes and go live a rich life somewhere else after they loot the company. And I want to see one of these guys go to prison, or one of these women go to prison. Edison has admitted that one of its transmission lines likely caused the fire. Do you know how old the transmission lines are? 100 years old. Like our 100-year-old pipes that are bursting on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. This was a 100-year-old transmission line that arced and caused the fire, connected to a tower that's supposedly out of service. Now, Edison had admitted that the lines caused the fire, but because of the lawsuits, is denying full responsibility for the fire. Much like the idiots that run the city and county of Los Angeles don't want to publicly share responsibility or claim any responsibility because they're all going to get sued. And, you know, in that case, it would be great if Karen Bass could personally be liable, and that we could bankrupt her, and that we could bankrupt the LA County Board of Supervisors, and bankrupt all the bureaucrats who didn't do anything to prepare for this fire and did very little useful to fight the fire. See, if one guy in a suit ends up in prison, if one politician ends up in prison, things change very quickly. Maybe a lot of these bastards wouldn't run for office if they could end up in prison. In its annual report, SoCal Edison told its shareholders that they were reasonable. They were a reasonable operator before the fire, even though they did not upkeep its 100-year-old transmission lines. Well, you can't have both. You cannot say we were a reasonable operator when you didn't maintain your 100-year-old electrical lines. And LA County has sued as well. And but the SoCal Edison saying LA County is responsible here, and water providers, you know, the evacuation alerts were delayed. There wasn't enough water for the fire and all that. But you go back to moment one. In moment one is the arcing of the transmission line from the tower. That's what started the fire. That points to bad maintenance. The arcing events caused burning material to fall from the tower onto thick brush, which ignited, and the Santa Ana winds were blowing very strongly, and you know what happened. And, of course, in Altadena, the LA County Fire Department, the LA County Office of Emergency Services didn't notify the residents of West Altadena, and 19 of them died. They were burned alive while they were sleeping because nobody bothered to wake them up or get them out of the neighborhood. Nobody has suffered any consequences for that other than the dead residents and their families. But nobody in county government, no bureaucrat, no employee, nobody with the sheriff's department, nobody. The guy running Office of Emergency Services, no. Everybody went home, and they still go home every day. No guilt, no remorse. Now, when we come back, I'm going to tell you about, they're having a wildfire in Spokane, and they've lost a few hundred homes, and it's burning thousands of acres. and they've evacuated tens of thousands of people, but it's much, much less than L.A. And why is this? Well, I'll tell you why. When we come back, it seems that the government in the Spokane area, in the Washington area, is far different than the idiots who run our local government. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. A man who allegedly appeared to be monitoring security planning activities where President Trump is going to be later today in L.A. has been arrested. A federal judge has scheduled the antitrust trial over Paramount's proposed $110 billion merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour, going to the 5 next.
Infinity Bank, when it comes to banking, are all of your eggs in one basket? Well, what happens when your card doesn't work? You have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number, or what happens if your wallet is stolen? Who's going to be the reliable source when you need money or new cards or assurance that your money is safe? Who are you going to trust here? Well, rest assured, you don't have to worry about that with Infinity Bank. I have an account with Infinity Bank now. Call Victor Guerrero, the president. That's who I talk to. He set up a new account, and he'll do it for you. 657-223-1000. 657-223-1000. Set up your new account for a limited time only. Don't miss out on one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account at Infinity Bank.
Southline weather from KFI. Tomorrow's going to be just like today. Highs in the 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. Stall on the 5 in Valencia.
This is on the northbound side. It's a big rig just before McBean Parkway, taking out the middle lane, and that drive is just loading up, getting out away from the 14 freeway. Also, I'm going to take a look at another problem. This is in Woodland Hills, 101 southbound, just past Winnetka. It's a crash in the 2 right lanes, and delays are loading up all the way from Parkway, Calabasas. You know, the president's coming into town, and that means lane restrictions and traffic jams, especially around the Trump National Golf Club. So that's Palos Verdes Drive. Stay clear of that. You'll probably have some closures and at the least restrictions. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry, wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit SmileTunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Bowling is my sport, but my plantar fasciitis hurts so bad. But then I found happiness at the Good Feet store and my Good Feet arch supports. I'm not thinking about my feet anymore. I'm just knocking pins down.
We have 11 area locations. Find the one closest to you at goodfeet.com.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This report is sponsored by CummonsRecall.com.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500 plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CummonsRecall.com.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new podcast, real problems and the kind of drama you can't stop thinking about. Catch it on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Tim Conway Jr. I'm pretty proud. I know I get a lot of emails saying, why are you so pro-American and pro-California and pro-Burbank and stuff like that? Because we have the greatest people in the world.
Tomorrow night, 6 to 10 on KFI AM 640.
I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or, somewhere in between. We have the greatest people in this country.
This is KFI. More stimulating talk.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show. President Trump is coming to Los Angeles, so that will clog some of the streets. We'll tell you when he's coming, how long he's staying, and where the streets are going to be filled. That's today after 6 on the Conway Show.
$1,000 giveaway. What? Later? All right. No $1,000 giveaway. We took the money back. You're not getting it. Ha ha. No, we'll do that in a few minutes. Now, all right, I want to tell you about the fire in Spokane, Washington, because they've lost 600 homes and they've evacuated 60,000 people. But if you remember, in the Palisades, we lost 7,000 homes, just as an example. And nobody's died up in Spokane either. The Altadena fire, we had 19 people die and 12 in the Palisades. So we had, I think, 31 deaths, give or take one. In Spokane, they've had nothing. And now they've had the same conditions up there, exactly the same conditions. The National Weather Service declared this region in the state of Washington as to be under a particularly dangerous situation warning. That is the most extreme wildfire warning issued by the National Weather Service for the same reasons. Strong winds, low humidity, very hot, perfect conditions for wildfires to spread fast. Particularly dangerous situation. So it's the exact same designation from the National Weather Service. So why is it that they've had no deaths up in the state of Washington and only 700 structures burned, as opposed to the mess we had here? Well, it turns out that local officials anticipated the fire. They read and listened to the National Weather Service's warnings, and they started taking action in advance. None of the officials in Spokane or in the county or the state of Washington took a plane flight to Ghana. None of them. They didn't have any officials on leave at home because they called in a bomb threat to a government office. It's really stunning. They had fire departments not only fully funded, but in advance, they got fire departments from out of town and out of state to show up to get ready for the event. Whoa! Can you imagine this? Somebody forward these stories to Karen Bass and the rest of them. In fact, there is an LA area fire official on the scene. The Santa Monica Fire Deputy Chief, Tom Clemo. He hasn't slept since Saturday. He has commanded crews assigned to the Spokane fires, and he sees the parallels to L.A. But he said the clearest example of lessons learned from the L.A. fires was how quickly local law enforcement evacuated the residents. Unlike the L.A. County Sheriff's Department, the L.A. County Board of Supervisors, the L.A. County Emergency Management Office, they didn't leave people to die in the middle of the night. Clemo, and again, he's Santa Monica Deputy Fire Chief, Clemo said the sheriff evacuated 60,000 people out of Spokane in a matter of 2 hours, no injury, no accident. That's unbelievable. How'd they do that? Now here, you got a bunch of excuses. Well, it was very difficult. It was unusual conditions. Nobody could have foreseen it, which was all a lie. You absolutely could have foreseen it. It's the exact same warning they got in Spokane, and they foresaw the situation, and they got 60,000 people out of one section of Spokane, Washington, with no casualties, no injuries, no accidents, no nothing. Because they were prepared, and they went to work before the fire got out of control, before the fire started in some cases. Clemo, and it's great that this guy actually witnessed the LA fires, so he knows exactly what he's comparing to. Clemo said that the state of Washington worked hard to stage the fire resources in response to the warning. They didn't wait till a fire happened. The National Weather Service said, hey, this could be bad. And so they went to work. There was an early call for a lot of resources, said Clemo, and a lot of pre-positioning. Whereas here in L.A., we had zero pre-positioning. Newsom lied and claimed there was, but there was none from Cal Fire, the state fire department. There was none from L.A. County Fire. There was none, obviously, from L.A. City Fire. But in Washington, early call, lots of resources, pre-positioning, 60,000 evacuated. The region upstaffed quite a bit, he said. And that was difficult because there were already a bunch of fires burning in Oregon and Washington. But they didn't use that as an excuse. They just arranged to get even more people on the scene. 1,000 firefighters were on the ground Monday. They're going to double that number in the coming days. They got mutual aid crews arriving, including hundreds from California. They're so organized, they're getting California firefighters there in a matter of days when we couldn't get our own firefighters together in a matter of days here. Clemo has a team made up of personnel based in Southern California, Santa Monica, LA, Santa Barbara, Ventura firefighters, and the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Isn't this ironic? This fire is being mitigated using California firefighters because Washington and Spokane got ready in advance of the fire. Got ready because they took the warnings seriously. Nobody flew to Ghana. LA County Fire sent a 25-person crew and a 3-person dozer team. How about that? See? It can be done. It can be done with the same guys that we could have used here if the people in charge here had just paid attention and acted in advance of the danger. Now let's do the $1,000 giveaway.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's BONUS. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI.
Is that the right one? That's not the right word. Please stand by. Don't type in that word. I think we're going to have to. Well, on the sheet is a different one than what he announced. Okay. Listen, all right, we're going to revise this. Credit. Credit is the word you should type in. Don't pay attention to what that guy said. Credit. Enter this at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. And next hour, there's going to be another chance to win. Credit.
What was that?
It's okay. It's the first day on the job for all of us here. All right. So it's kind of the shakedown show. All right. We come back. We are going to celebrate. We are one big step closer to Mark Ridley Thomas being sent to a federal prison. Doesn't get better than that, huh? Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The LA County Sheriff's Department says a man was arrested on Sunday for allegedly taking pictures and videos at President Trump's golf club in Rancho Palos Verdes. Investigators say he also appeared to be monitoring security planning activities. They say the guy from Downey also had ammunition in his pocket and a loaded gun in his car, which was parked at the Trump National Golf Club. Sheriff's officials say they've given the case to the LA County DA's office for consideration of criminal charges. The man arrested for murder in that Chino Hills kidnapping and killing made his first court appearance this morning.
Jean-Chuan Buo pleaded not guilty this morning in court in San Bernardino. Cops say he and his brother kidnapped their business partner, Shakur Eichbear, shoved him in the trunk of their car. Then the brother shot and killed Eichbear in front of police. Police then shot and killed the brother. Eichbear's daughter tells KTLA the family's devastated.
Yeah, and the impact it has on my family, my sisters, my mom. I just want justice for all of us.
Buo is being held on murder and kidnapping charges and could face the death penalty. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
The news is brought to you by Pacific Coast Termite. The former superintendent for the LA School District was going to be former one way or another.
Newly released documents show the school board was going to either fire Alberto Cavallo or force him to resign. The LA Times obtained a confidential letter from June 8th with accusations of unreported gifts, unreported outside income, donor-funded travel, and gifts from contractors and lobbyists beyond the limits permitted by law. Carvalho's attorneys responded with their own letter calling the accusations legally and factually deficient. Carvalho was LAUSD superintendent from 2022 till he resigned this past June. He's not been charged with wrongdoing and denies any misconduct. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
A federal judge in Oakland has scheduled the antitrust trial over Paramount's proposed $110 billion merger with Warner Brothers Discovery for March of next year. Paramount previously said the planned takeover would be kept on hold while it defends against antitrust lawsuits filed last month by a coalition of 12 state attorneys general led by California. A preliminary injunction hearing that had been scheduled for yesterday was then canceled. Under an agreement with Warner Brothers, after September 30th, Paramount will have to pay $7 million for every day the transaction doesn't close. The Senate Judiciary Committee has advanced the nomination of Todd Blanche to be Attorney General. The vote this morning was along party lines. Senate Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was one of the louder voices against the confirmation.
He is about Trump and not truth. He is about corruption and not the Constitution. He's about being Donald Trump's lawyer and not the people's lawyer. This is so deeply wrong.
Republican holdouts John Cornyn and Tom Tillis helped advance the nomination. It now goes to the full Senate. A federal appeals court has ordered the Department of Education to write off $11 billion worth of student loans.
The ruling is the result of a class action lawsuit filed in 2019 by students or former students who said the for-profit schools they attended had lured them into enrolling by offering unrealistic promises of their earning potential upon graduation. Now the loans the plaintiffs took out to attend might be forgiven.
ABC's Jim Ryan says the ruling affects about 170,000 students. And despite Iranian officials saying they're not talking with the U.S. on a renewed ceasefire, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says there's been some headway in discussions with them. He says talks that are going on in Oman are about getting more ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
Suffice it to say there's been progress made in those talks, but not finality yet. We're hoping that will happen very shortly.
He says a final agreement has not been reached yet. We're going to go back to the 101 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com, where you can sell your car in a hot minute. You got to try this. Enter your car's VIN number, and you'll get an offer real fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com, their offers beat CarMax and Carvana offers every day. And if they can't, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com will get you your check on the spot. Super easy, super fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Southland weather from KFI. Areas of low clouds and fog in the morning, then sunny. Highs just like today, mid-80s to around 90 metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. It's going to be windy again in the high desert and the IE. Low to upper 70s for the beaches, low 80s inland OC. Right now it's 82 in Laguna Woods and 83 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Back to that crash on the 101 in Woodland Hills.
It's along the southbound side coming up at Winnetka where the two right lanes remain off limits. Now, initially, Highway Patrol said it's going to be off limits for about 30 minutes, but here we are about an hour later, and it appears to still be shut down, or those two right lanes, that is, and delays are huge. They're backing up all the way from just about Lost Hills out of Calabasas. Now, it's also a tough drive as you make your way along that 91 freeway. This is making your way eastbound, delays and stretches in Anaheim from the 5 all the way to Green River. And the president is arriving in Los Angeles any moment. And we never know exactly the route the motorcade is going to take until we see those lanes stopped on the freeways and surface streets. So currently on the 405 southbound, you're slowing out of West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard, and delays and stretches all the way into Long Beach. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with dozens of apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated and easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Have you been avoiding shorts or swimsuits because of painful varicose or embarrassing spider veins? Is that how you want to live? West Medical can help. Treatments may be covered by most PPO insurance plans, including Anthem Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and more. Don't ignore leg pain, swelling, or bulging veins. Call 1-800-WEST Medical for your free consultation or visit westmedical.com today. Isn't it time to feel incredible?
Feel incredible. 'Cause I call 1-800-WEST Medical.
Take action for your retirement. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857.
Way back in 1440, Gutenberg's printing press sounded terrible. In 1922, Earl C. Anthony created KFI.
KFI in Los Angeles.
It also sounded terrible. But now, KFI on the iHeartRadio app brings you digital sound. From the dulcet tones of Tim Conway Jr.
Ding dong!
to the warm, comforting siren song that is Shannon Farron. If you haven't heard KFI on the free iHeartRadio app, you haven't heard KFI.
Broadcasting with 50,000 watts of power.
Live everywhere in living color on the iHeartRadio app.
It is a triumphant day. Really, it's really exciting. Are we getting vuvuzelas? That's my favorite. There we go. This is a celebratory day, a major victory. It's not all over yet, but Mark Ridley Thomas, the disgusting, corrupt LA County supervisor, is a big step closer to having his overfed body in a federal prison cell. Mark Ridley Thomas, longtime LA City Councilman, LA County Supervisor. I think he was in the legislature too. And he is as corrupt as the day is long. Ken and I have been very good over the years at identifying the bad guys, the criminal guys, even before they get arrested and indicted and imprisoned. To me, this is my superpower. I can tell. And as soon as I got wind of Mark Ridley Thomas, as soon as I laid eyes on him and I heard him talk, I go, that's a bad guy there. That's a crook. I knew it. It was just a matter of time. And he knew I knew. And that's why he's been a pain in the ass for 27 years. I'll give you a little history of Mark Ridley Thomas and us coming up in just a couple of minutes, but I want to tell you while we're celebrating. Mark Ridley Thomas had been convicted in 2023 by a federal jury on counts of conspiracy, bribery, honest services fraud, mail and wire fraud, sentenced to 3 years, 6 months in federal prison, but he was granted bail pending appeal. And the appeal has gone on ever since. Now, here is the scam that he pulled. And he did this with a dean of the USC School of Social Work. And of course, the School of Social Work, any university school of social work, that is an utterly useless profession and an utterly useless education concept. Social work. Well, Marilyn Flynn was the dean. She was in her 80s, I think, at the time. And she arranged this scam with Mark Ridley Thomas. Here's what Mark Ridley Thomas needed. Mark Ridley Thomas had this dud son named Sebastian. Sebastian the Dud. Sebastian the Dud was a California Assemblyman. Yes, people actually voted not only Mark Ridley Thomas into office, but his idiot son. Well, the idiot son got involved in a sexual harassment investigation and he had to resign. So now Mark Ridley Thomas has this unemployed dud who's been kicked out of the assembly on sexual harassment rumors. What's he going to do? Well, this is where Marilyn Flynn came in. Marilyn Flynn needed a law passed that would was called the Telehealth Amendment. And it was something that would be a contract with the Department of Mental Health so that the social work school could get millions of dollars in new revenue. All right? It was a contract to provide services to LA County and to the Department of Mental Health. So Marilyn Flynn wanted that contract. Mark Ridley Thomas was the LA County supervisor. He could vote for the contract. But Ridley Thomas wanted something in return. He wanted a job for his son. So Ridley Thomas gave $100,000 to a nonprofit called United Ways, which then passed the money over to USC and then passed the money back to Ridley Thomas. You following this? Ridley Thomas bribed himself with his own money and is now getting thrown in prison for it. Ridley Thomas had $100,000. He gave it to United Ways. United Ways gave it to USC. USC gave it back to Ridley Thomas. And also, this would give Sebastian a double master's degree, a full tuition scholarship, and a paid professorship. You see how this works? I shouldn't say he got the $100,000. What Sebastian got was the scholarship, the master's degree, and a professorship, which would cost $100,000. So Ridley Thomas, in effect, bought it, but they had to launder the money. And Ridley Thomas had to vote for this law that would give USC millions of dollars in new mental health contracts. They figured nobody would figure it out. Well, the feds figured it out, and they convicted him. Even the jurors figured it out. And you know what's funny? At first, the three-judge panel on the Court of Appeals didn't quite figure it out. They seemed to be inclined to give Ridley Thomas a break and overturn the guilty plea. Because one of the judges, Morgan Christian, a Barack Obama appointee, was puzzled about how this was a bribe since it was its own money. Again, it went from Thomas to United Ways to USC. USC then took the $100,000 to pay for his son's master's degree, scholarship, and professorship. There was also a Biden appointee and a Bill Clinton appointee, and all three of them eventually ruled against Ridley Thomas. And they said, you know what? After going through this, they didn't even understand this thing. So now Ridley Thomas is going to try to appeal before the entire U.S. Court of Appeal. The whole panel, if they take it. But he's a snake. He's vermin. He's terrible. Now, tell you two quick stories about Ridley Thomas. We pissed him off back in 2009 because we found out he was, I think it was a news story, he was spending $707,000 of tax money to remodel his office. And we publicized the hell out of this on the air. And all the news stories at the time credited our show with getting listeners to call in and email the supervisors. And eventually, they got hundreds of emails and phone calls. And eventually, Ridley Thomas had to back down. His office was perfectly fine. He just wanted to live like a rich grand poobah. I once hosted some kind of political forum where he was one of the speakers. This guy had the worst case of verbal diarrhea you've ever heard in your life. He literally could not stop talking. And he had this deep, rumbly voice. And I think it vibrated in such a way that it gave him physical pleasure because he could not stop talking. His jowls would vibrate. I think parts of his body vibrated that made him say, oh, I can't give up this feeling. This is wonderful. And so he would just keep talking and his jowls would keep vibrating and he would keep rumbling. Made no sense. He made absolutely no sense, Ridley Thomas, when he spoke. Now, our earliest run-in with him, I found a news story. This goes back to September 14th of 1999. when we were at KBC that year, and we were on in the mornings, Ken and I, and we'd had Mark Ridley Thomas on the show. He was talking about how he wanted an NFL team come to the LA Coliseum, and I said, nobody's going to come and drive around that filthy neighborhood. It's a crappy neighborhood. You're not going to get regular families to show up. And I said that the area was filled with gang-type thugs. So what he did is he hired protesters. He really did. He got a bus. He hired protesters. And there were like 50 of these goons standing outside. He bought them bag lunches. So they had like brown bag lunches. And they stood outside the radio station. And they were chanting, hey, hey, ho, ho, John and Ken have got to go. That was like the first organized protest against us because of Mark Ridley Thomas. And this is where I understood the game. It was all just a game. It was public. And the thing is, Disney owned the station at the time. So Disney was afraid that Ridley Thomas's bus protesters were going to show up at the gates of Disneyland. And this was to create an unfriendly environment. So that management, the corporate management there, had no business being in the radio business, certainly the talk radio business. You know, they were in the Mickey Mouse business. And that's when Disney was buying up things that they had no business of running. So, and I vowed back then we were going to get Mark Ridley Thomas back, and I am going to gloat. And I'm telling you, I will personally escort him into prison.
Oh, you will?
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to be there?
Seriously? Oh, sure. Yes, I will. I will. I'll do the strip search. Deborah Mark, live to KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. President Trump's in L.A. today. Researchers at USC say their analysis of soil in neighborhoods affected by the Palisades and Eaton fires show elevated lead levels in some places. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going to go back to the 101 next.
If I have to wait 27 years to get back at somebody, I will.
Yeah.
You're
hardcore.
Oh, I'm like those people in the Middle East with the 1,000-year grudges. Yeah. Lasting Smiles dental implants. You've got this rotted, decayed, disgusting smile. What are you doing? Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to see that. The Lasting Smiles Summer Smile Special. You go to Lasting Smiles, get a free comprehensive dental exam, full 3D imaging, custom treatment plan, and the payments are as low as $149 a month on approved credit. You mention KFI or John, and you get the Summer Smile Special. How easy is that? LastingSmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. We have an update on that crash on the 101 in Woodland Hills.
It's on the southbound side at Winnetka. That's where the two right lanes had been blocked, but by the look of traffic, looks like those lanes are now open. Still heavy, but recovering out of Calabasas from Lost Hills. But you've got some stretches of slowing that looks like it's really starting to clear out. If you see something different on that 101 southbound at Winnetka, give us an update. Pound 250, keyword KFI traffic. It's also little heads up here. President's flying into town. If you see the motorcade rolling around, you can always give us an update. Pound 250, keyword KFI traffic. Anaheim, East 91 slowing down from the 57 freeway all the way to Green River. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
A potential very big hit for the Atlanta Falcons defense with word that edge rusher Jalen Walker may have suffered a torn ACL this morning at practice. He will have an MRI. The Bears' Darnell Wright secures a 4-year extension worth $116 million, the biggest deal ever for a right tackle. Cleveland's WNBA expansion team has revealed they'll be known as the Sirens. They'll begin play in 2028. I'm Frank Aaron.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
I was always flat-footed, and I always had the excruciating foot pains my whole life. When I'd walk, I would have to sit down just watching people go by you.
This is Alan, and this is his Good Feet story.
I tried the drugstore inserts, physical therapy, icing, massage therapy. Nothing worked. And I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the Good Feet store. They fitted me for arch supports, and it changed my life. The Good Feet arch supports have been liberating. I never thought it could happen. I became a walker and doer again.
For over 30 years, the Good Feet store has been helping improve the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time.
With my Good Feet arch supports, I don't have to worry, oh no, we have to wait for him again. Now I'm like, I'm going to run it right by you and I'll pass you up. My biggest regret is not going to the Good Feet store years ago. I mean, I feel absolutely free again. It's like my fountain of youth. It is an absolute miracle.
See how we can help you with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have 11 area locations. Find the one closest to you at goodfeet.com.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you're living with constant knee pain and you're dreading surgery, which you should, and you're looking at a long recovery, no fun, let me tell you about Hoag Orthopedic Institute. Their award-winning knee specialists are changing how knee pain is treated. They offer the most advanced, minimally invasive procedures for faster recovery, better movement, and the care is personalized using the most cutting-edge techniques, including robotic-assisted knee replacement, state-of-the-art cartilage restoration. You get up, get active, and you're going to move without missing months of your life. And they accept most PPO and Medicare insurance plans. So call 800-919-2000 or visit HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. That's H-O-A-G, HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. Locations throughout Southern California, proudly physician-owned. That's HoagOrthopedicInstitute.com. Call 800-919-2000.
Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today.
iHeart Radio. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon Show.
Socialism is on the ballot. What is on their agenda?
The Gary and Shannon Show starts tomorrow morning at 9.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio, John Kobylt Show. And we're on from 3 to 6 after 6 o'clock. John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. We are going to talk with Carl DeMaio right after 4 o'clock. And Carl is going to tell us how he's feeling about this case before a judge. The case is this. Carl and his organizations, Reform California, they got the voter ID law on the ballot. Rob Bonta, that little attorney general gerbil, has rewritten the title and summary to make it look like it's something bad. And that's to depress the yes vote, because the Democrats, Newsom and Bonta, don't want voter ID because there are so many fraudulent people voting. Voter ID would expose just how much. So they're trying to fight it. And so now he's going to rewrite. He did rewrite it, and it's terrible. Carl explained this coming up after 4 o'clock. And we're waiting on the judge's decision, which is going to be on Thursday. So Carl DeMaio coming on to talk about it after 4 o'clock. Here's why you can't have too much immigration without regulation. You heard that the little town of Ceuta, which is an enclave, it's inside Morocco. It's on the Mediterranean coast, but it borders Morocco. It's 6 miles long, but it belongs to Spain. You got Spain, part of Europe. You got the Strait of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean Sea. And then you had this little tiny plot of land, 6 miles, Ceuta. And the Moroccans, 50,000 Moroccans stormed over the border into Ceuta. Now they got stuck there because they can't get to mainland Spain because the Mediterranean's in the way. So 60,000 people. It was just the California Post calls a bum rush of the border. And allegedly now, Spanish authorities have chased this crowd back to Morocco. But there's footage that was taken Sunday, showed these Moroccan migrants, they're all Muslim, yelling, Allahu Akbar. Many raised clenched fists, running through the streets of Ceuta. 72 people died from drowning or the stampede on the beach. The European Union countries, because Spain is a member, and supposedly in the EU, if you have an EU passport, if you're a citizen of any of these countries, you can travel through all these countries freely. You can live, work, own property, travel without any restriction. Well, once Spain let the 60,000 Moroccans in, suddenly there were a lot of restrictions. Italy said, no, you're not coming here. France said, no, you're not coming here. And they have revoked their agreements with Spain for the next 30 days. France has border inspections. The residents in Ceuta were terrified. They hid in their homes. Because often you hear, well, these migrants, they're just looking for a better life. They want to work. Let me tell you, you have young men with no money, no skills, and no education. Here's what they were doing. They were running through the city, using the streets as bathrooms. It was like Los Angeles. Sleeping outside and bathing in public fountains. Wow. Let's go. We'll feel at home. Wow. Hey, is that a naked homeless guy bathing in the fountain? Well, what do you... of course, they were breaking into people's homes. Spain, though, unlike the weenies that run our state and country, Spain deployed hundreds of elite soldiers and retook the city, and they are deporting the immigrants by the thousands. Trump, of course, jumped on this and said, you know, if we don't stay in office, our country will be invaded at levels that make Spain look like small time. And then went on about how Biden allowed 25 million people into the country. Every time Trump talks about this, the number of people who storm the country goes up and up. It's now 25 million. I think it really was 10 or 11 million, but then it went up to 50 and then 20. Now it's at 25. But you get the point. All right, Carl DeMaio up next. Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Possible close call. I'm Deborah Mark live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Cops have arrested a guy taking photos and videos and appearing to monitor security planning activities ahead of President Trump's visit to his Rancho Palos Verdes golf club.
L.A. County Sheriff's Department officials busted the 38-year-old from Downey Sunday and say he had hollow point ammunition in his pocket and a loaded weapon in his vehicle parked at the Trump National Golf Club. At his home, they found more weapons, body armor, high-capacity ammunition magazines, and notebooks containing what they called concerning statements. They didn't give details of the statements. The man was arrested and booked on suspicion of carrying a concealed firearm and possession of armor-piercing prohibited ammunition. He's being held without bail. Mark Rauner, KFI News.
President Trump will be in L.A. today to help raise money for the upcoming midterm elections.
He'll be in Rancho Palos Verdes to headline a Republican National Committee dinner at Trump National Golf Club. The White House has not released many other details. Later tonight, Trump will head to Nevada. Tomorrow, he'll deliver remarks on the economy at Red Rock Casino in Las Vegas. The White House says Trump will use the trip to spotlight his economic accomplishments as he raises money for the Republican Party. Mark Mayfield, KFI News.
A fire at an industrial building in Commerce has sent a thick plume of black smoke over the area just west of the 710. Because the fire is so intense, LA County Fire Department crews have not been able to get into the building, which is thought to be a metal finishing business. Crews on the scene say live power lines are down, and Southern California Edison crews have been called to the scene to de-energize those lines. A new report has come out on the cause of the Eaton fire in Altadena.
The Eaton fire was caused by electrical arcing from a SoCal Edison tower. That according to a new report from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. And while the conclusion is new and definitive, the theory was already pretty much accepted. Even SoCal Edison officials have already acknowledged that the fire was probably sparked by its equipment, and several lawsuits have been filed blaming Edison. The report from LA County Fire's Arson Unit and CAL FIRE says video evidence shows the electrical arcing that started it all. At least 19 people were killed and 9,000 structures destroyed in the 2025 fire. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger tells KFI she hopes this report validates many who have been saying for a while now that they knew exactly how that fire started.
This report provides actually more insight and answers about what caused the Eaton fire. I've said this all along. Our community deserves transparency, accountability, and access to the facts.
Barger's district includes Altadena. Researchers at USC say their analysis of soil in neighborhoods affected by the Palisades and Eaton fire show elevated lead levels in some places, while most fire-related chemicals detected in coastal waters returned to typical levels within months. They say the fires released lead into the environment, but pre-existing contamination from sources like lead-based paint in older homes makes it hard to tell fire-related contamination from existing pollution. Newly released documents show the LA School Board was going to either fire Alberto Carvalho or force the superintendent to resign. The LA Times obtained a confidential letter from June 8th with accusations of unreported gifts, unreported outside income, donor-funded travel, and gifts from contractors and lobbyists beyond the limits allowed by law. Carvalho's attorneys responded with their own letter calling the accusations legally and factually deficient. Carvalho was LA school superintendent from 2022 until he resigned this past June. He has not been charged with any wrongdoing and denies any misconduct. Qatar says it's mediating peace talks between the U.S. and Iran days after President Trump paused what he says was going to be a major attack on Iran. President Trump says he agreed to hold off at the request of various allies in the region.
This is a last chance for them to sign a good document.
Trump says the main issues are the opening of the Strait of Hormuz and denuclearization. A senior Iranian military official says Iran will not stand by while the U.S. continues its naval blockade of Iranian ports and ships. He also says Tehran will not allow any shipments through the strait and said U.S. warships traveling through other routes will be targeted. We're going to head over to the 6:05 next.
Let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. You do a handshake, they get a commission, they're done, they're out of there, and you may not hear from them again until it's time to renew. But your business runs all year, and you're stuck with the gaps and the risk in your insurance all year. Super Sure, it's for you if your company has more than 25 employees. And whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, the whole thing can be too complicated to buy a policy online. Super Sure is a super agency built for you. Licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus, a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth and you know what actually needs protecting. Supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com, supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Southland weather from KFI, areas of low clouds and fog in the morning again, and then sunny. Highs mid-80s to around 90 for Metro LA, 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. It's going to be windy again in the high desert and the IE. Low to upper 70s for the beaches, low 80s inland OC. Right now, 82 in Tustin, 70 Laguna Beach, 90 in Chatsworth, it's 87 in Van Nuys. The KFI financial update brought to you by Supersure. Supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed up 907, S&P 500 up 136, and NASDAQ up 671. Stall on the 605 in Santa Fe Springs.
This one is along the southbound side, and it's coming up on Telegraph Road. Middle lane is blocked, delays away from Beverly Boulevard. Now, I'm just looking at a live shot in Palos Verdes at the Trump National Golf Course, and it appears that Palos Verdes Drive heading southbound at that point is getting through in the right lane. So that's good news. I also heard that the president is expected to arrive at that golf course at 6 this evening. So things will really tighten down in that area approaching that time. Now, I also just saw a crash reported in Panorama City. Not reported, it's there. I saw a live shot of it. And it was one of those auto carriers. It plowed into a residential building along Van Nuys Boulevard in Panorama City. Van Nuys Boulevard is closed currently between Rain Street and Osborne Street, so stay clear of that. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Look at all the complaints that our competitors have on their BBB ratings. GiveMeTheVin.com is a 5-star rated company. We do what we say we're going to do. It's that easy.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Silver is no longer just a commodity. It's a strategic resource. Demand is up, supply is tight. Experts accept prices to soar. Visit LearCapital.com for your free silver report. LearCapital.com, LearCapital.com.
Want more than just awareness for your business? An iHeartRadio Music Festival partnership can help your business drive action with sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, QR codes, and more. Make your business part of the iHeartRadio Music Festival today at iHeartAdvertising.com.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. How are you? It's the John Kobylt Show, and we're on from 3 to 6. After 6 today, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. It's the podcast. You listen to what you missed. We are live on YouTube. We're live on X or Twitter. Subscribe, become a member at youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. And coming up after 4:30, we're going to play a clips from the communist, Nithya Raman, who went on the New Yorker Radio Hour to talk about her beliefs in communism. And she, of course, wants to be the mayor of Los Angeles up against the other old communist, Karen Bass. This is the worst choice any city has ever had in the history of mayoral elections. They're both really, really bad. And we'll show you how bad Raman is after 4:30. But first, we're also going to get into this. We had another possible assassin for Trump right here in L.A. On Sunday, he was arrested. You probably heard Deborah talk about it in the news. We'll give you a lot more detail in the next segment. Let's get Carl DeMaio on here. Carl is the Republican Assemblyman, and we're going to vote in November on voter ID in California. It's Proposition 39. You want to vote yes on that. And Carl and his organization, Reform California, got it on the ballot. And now Rob Bonta, the idiot attorney general, has rewritten the title and summary to try to scare voters into not voting yes. Let's get Carl on, because this has gone before a judge. And Thursday, right, we're going to find out if the judge says this is a legit rewrite or not.
Yeah, we're going to find out if the judge is going to rubber stamp the politicians like they've done in the past, unfortunately, or whether the judge is going to say, look, the voters deserve a fair and impartial, honest title on every measure, and the voters should be able to decide whether they want to vote yes or no without any sort of manipulation. Unfortunately, John, we've been through this before, haven't we? Remember Prop 6 back in 2018?
Gas tax.
Xavier Becerra, who's now running for governor, he gave us initially a title, gas tax repeal, because they didn't think we were going to get this on the ballot. And guess what? We got it on the ballot. So they decided to deprive us of a fair election. They changed the ballot title on Prop 6, the gas tax repeal, in 2018 at the last minute to say repeals transportation funding and road repairs. That's not true. We didn't do that, but that's the title that they put on the initiative. For voter ID, the same thing happened. Rob Bonta gave us a title a year and a half ago, requires identification for voting, and citizenship verification for registration. Fair title, basic. He decided last week to change it to prohibits citizens from voting. Those are the first 4 words of his biased title.
Prohibits citizens from voting.
Prohibits citizens from voting. He might as well just say kills puppies and kittens, for goodness sakes. And so, look, I think the voters deserve an honest election, but that's not what they're getting. So we're suing in a Sacramento court. I don't have high hopes that we're going to prevail, but we are suing because you can't just let them do it. You have to at least fight. And I'm telling you, we still believe we can pass Prop 39, the voter ID initiative, but it's going to require that we overcome the bias on this ballot title. And the only way we can do that is if friends and neighbors, coworkers, colleagues all start sharing the news that the titles on these initiatives are usually false and misleading, and we need to give them a plain English voter guide. That's why Reform California does spend so much time during the election distributing the plain English voter guide to every district that we're targeting.
And how much do you think it changes the vote?
It's certainly, the polling shows that it hurts us by at least 10 to 15 points initially.
Really? So really 10 to 15% of the public get swayed by the changing in the wording. I guess they don't expect people to read beyond the title and summary, obviously.
Well, initially, yes. So you have this 10 to 15% massive hit. But the good news is that some people do look at something and say, well, wait a minute. Prohibit citizens from voting, that doesn't sound legal. It doesn't sound right. There must be something else going on here. And then they start doing research. So what we are finding in the focus groups is that when you sit down with voters and they see a title that's fishy, they start doing their research. And when they find out that the title is being manipulated, then they actually have a negative reaction. So I actually believe, John, that this could backfire on Rob Bonta. That's why we're suing. We're suing because we want to see the title restored to a fair title. But we also want to make as big of a stink about this as possible so that more and more voters know. And when voters find out the politicians are trying to manipulate them into voting against what they want to see happen, the voters get upset and they will actually vote even more firmly for what they want.
This is this voter ID concept is so popular in California and across the country, regardless of whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or Independent. There are big majorities for voter ID because it's obvious. And
there is a bipartisan supermajority for voter ID, and that's why these politicians are trying to rig the election by manipulating the title on the ballot measure. Do you also know what they're doing? They've sued us, the voter ID campaign. Not only did they change the title to try to rig the title against us, but now they don't want to even give us our 500-word statement in the ballot book, which we are legally entitled to. They're suing to strike massive portions of our 500-word statement.
Why?
Saying that we're lying and we're misrepresenting. This is literally like the devil complaining about sin. This is the bank robber robbing the bank and then turning around and suing you for not having enough money in your bank account.
But how that works? I'm looking at a story on what you're discussing here in the Mercury News, and the headline is California could require voter ID. Both sides say voters are being misled. So they get the both sides headline, equalizing your argument with their phony argument.
They are trying to divert attention from their crime by accusing someone else of committing the crime. And every word in our argument is factual and is common sense, but they don't even want to give us our right to a 500-word argument without literally trying to disrupt this election and deprive us of a fair opportunity. And so these people are crooks. That's just,
yes.
I'm sorry, but that's really what we're dealing with.
No, we're dealing with
actors.
We're run by a criminal organization. It's clear, top to bottom. Carl DeMaio, thank you for coming on. We will certainly give this all a lot of publicity, no matter how Thursday's decision turns out. All right?
Thank you so much.
All right, because I'm dying to see just how many fraudulent votes there are that carry many Democrats to victory. Because if they didn't know there was a lot of fraud in the system, they wouldn't be fighting this hard. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more about this wannabe Trump assassin at the golf course in Palos Verdes. Deborah will have more, too, in her newscast. And Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. LA is closer to new restrictions on e-bikes, and federal officials now say up to 12 states may have had water utilities compromised in cyber attacks. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. We're going to the 10 next.
I opened a new account at Infinity Bank in Orange County, and it was the most seamless, easiest process to switch. Victor Guerrero is the president, and that's who I dealt with, and that's who you can call anytime, any day. Victor Guerrero, and here's his number. I'm not kidding, 657-223-1000. 657-223-1000. Infinity Bank is not trying to be the biggest bank, but the one that consistently provides excellent customer service. They're not going to nickel and dime you on any fees. Take advantage of their limited time rate promotion with their money market account. One of the best rates in the U.S. Ask for Victor, 657-223-1000. Infinity Bank, member FDIC.
From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Crash on the 10 in Mid-City.
So this one is along the eastbound side of the 10, and that is coming right up at Vermont. It's out of lanes to the shoulder, but overall slowing. Backs up all the way out of Santa Monica from just about 20th Street. It's also a tough drive right now as you roll out of Burbank, South 5, loading up at Alameda. Delays continue in stretches all the way to the 605. And it's tough in Santa Fe Springs on the 605 southbound. This is just before Telegraph Road, where a stalled-out minivan's got the 3 left lanes blocked, sending you back from Rose Hills. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
I'm Duncan Newman, owner of Newman Windows and Doors.
And I'm Maria Newman. When you choose Newman, you get more than new windows. You get our 7-point promise. Certified craftsmen only, no subcontractors, transparent pricing guaranteed, and more.
Right now, buy 2 Milgard vinyl windows and get 1 Milgard window free. Plus our lifetime installation guarantee. At Newman, we finish it right. Period. No excuses.
Ask about our fire recovery program, 8777-NEWMAN or NewmanWindows.com.
Restrictions apply. License number 570472. Offer ends August 31st, 2026.
This is Sarah Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Coming off a successful second season of their new pro softball league, the AUSL, Athletes Unlimited has announced they're pausing AU Pro Volleyball for the 2026 season and AU Pro Basketball for the 2027 season. In a statement, the org said it would both thoughtfully reimagine the future of those properties to reflect the continued growth and evolution of both sports. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Wild Rivers in Irvine. Summer isn't over, but the hottest deals at Wild Rivers Water Park won't last long. Take advantage of cool savings at wildrivers.com before they're gone. Get discounted tickets at wildrivers.com. Wild Rivers, where there's sun and fun for everyone.
Lose the weight, feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Hey, did you see that Morongo's giving away a Mustang GT Fastback? I've always wanted a broom with a view. Now your top reasons to visit Morongo.
We're giving away a 2026 Mustang GT Fastback. Earn entries now, and you could drive off a winner the 31st.
Number 2.
A lighted makeup box is yours when you earn 500 points on your rewards card the 11th.
And the number 1 reason.
Walker Hayes on the 22nd. Buy tickets now.
Morongo, good times.
Have questions about plastic surgery? Get trusted answers from Dr. Raban at plasticsurgeryuncensored.com.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen Kay is a new podcast, confessions, impossible dilemmas, and advice that hits home. Catch every episode on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations, all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
On the next Bill Handel Show, have you heard of the Fraud Squad? Caltech has formed a group to catch people using AI on their applications. And that's coming up tomorrow morning after 7 o'clock on the next Bill Handel Show.
$1,000 giveaway.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's BONUS. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Cash. Right. Yes. Here is the word is bonus. Bonus. Enter the word bonus at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. Next chance to win at 5:20 here on KFI. All right, so we have a real wannabe Trump assassin that was captured on Sunday. Trump is going to be arriving at the Trump National Golf Club in Palos Verdes, Rancho Palos Verdes. And I don't know, what time is he?
Around 6 tonight.
6 tonight. And they're going to have a big fundraising dinner. And they're going to shake a lot of money out of the fat cat Republicans. And he had a guest, an unwanted guest, who is getting his assassination equipment together on Sunday. The guy, his name is Janine John Taylor. Janine? See one of those furry guys? Well, this must be an alternate identity. Janine was found to be carrying hollow point ammunition in his pocket and an illegally modified AR platform rifle, a .45 caliber pistol from 1911, body armor, an AR platform upper receiver. I don't know gun stuff.
No, I don't.
You ever shoot a gun?
I have. At a radio station, we did it. It was
that was a bad meeting.
The police station wanted us to come by. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I shot
at a
one
different
once.
station. Yeah, you did?
Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe how powerful it was, like the kickback on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guns scare me. High-capacity magazines this guy had, bulk pistol and rifle ammunition. I love these guys who carry multiple weapons. How many can you fire?
In case one doesn't work.
Yeah, you got to get back. Multiple notebooks, and authorities said there were concerning statements in the notebooks. 2 radio signal devices, and so he's been arrested. But Trump seems to have assassins like every few months. So he's been charged, according to the DA, with manufacturing, importing, giving or receiving a large capacity magazine, possession of a rifle or shotgun. Oh, he had a second-degree robbery count that occurred in November of 2025 that I guess was he never stood trial for. Yeah, I'd read that he had a warrant out for him. And Trump is arriving within I don't know what moment he's actually landing.
Yeah, we're not given those details.
Yeah, I wonder why. Jesus. These guys are all over the place. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about Nithya Raman. This is very difficult. Normally in an election, you have a clear cut. All right, this guy's rational. This guy is a socialist, communist monster, tax fiend. Or at least you have, all right, this guy's bad, but this other one is less bad. We don't have this here. First of all, we don't have a guy. What are the odds we have two communist women? Like, how did this happen? We got a city of 4 million people, and we have two communist women, one in her 70s, the other in her 40s, like two different generations of communists. And they're fighting it out. Because the one guy, well, we know what happened. Nithya Raman benefited from the rigging, from all the homeless voting that magically went on. And they all voted for her. All those drug addicts you see passed out in the street, all the mental patients that are screaming and frothing at the mouth, all Raman voters. When you see a crazy guy in the street, odds are he voted. He voted, he had one of those absentee ballots, mail-in ballots. He's registered with the local homeless shelter, and he voted for Nithya Raman. Nothing else explains this. Well, she went on the New Yorker Radio Hour. The host is this left-wing journalist weasel, David Remnick. And when we come back, she's still on this kick that she's going to get Spencer Pratt voters. Anybody know a single Spencer Pratt voter who's going to vote for Nithya Raman? I don't know any. Nithya Raman wants Spencer Pratt voters. All right. We'll listen to her in her own words coming up. Deborah Mark, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
As you heard John just talking about, hours ahead of President Trump's planned appearance at his Rancho Palos Verdes Golf Club, authorities announced the arrest of a man who was allegedly taking photos in a possible attempt to monitor security at the club. Sheriff's officials say the 38-year-old guy was from Downey. He was arrested Sunday, carrying hollow point ammunition in his pocket and a loaded weapon in his car. Authorities say a subsequent search of the man's home found additional weapons, body armor, high-capacity ammunition, magazines, and multiple notebooks containing what they are saying are concerning statements. The guy's being held without bail. Trump is scheduled to speak at a Republican National Committee fundraiser at the golf club tonight. The news is brought to you by Seller's Advantage. LA is a step closer to new restrictions on e-bikes.
With all the stories lately about e-bike injuries going up, kids getting hurt, and very few regulations on the books, the LA City Council is looking at options for new rules. They don't want to put the brakes on the e-bikes, but are considering a ban on mods that make them faster, mandatory training for riders younger than 18, and ways to prevent battery fires. A motion asking the Department of Transportation to come up with regulations just passed. Next, it goes to the full City Council. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
Actress Linda Blair has been cited for operating an animal shelter without a license and having too many animals in a residence after inspectors found 250 dogs at her animal rescue center in Acton. Officials with the LA County Department of Animal Care and Control inspected the place after getting complaints alleging dogs were being kept in overcrowded, unsanitary conditions on the property occupied by the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation. Federal officials now say up to 12 states may have had water utilities compromised in cyber attacks. ABC's Aaron Katursky says Iran is thought to be the prime source.
Federal officials are still trying to figure out if it was indeed Iran or maybe some other state actor mimicking how Iran would go about doing this kind of a hack.
He says there's no evidence so far of any widespread disruption to water supplies in any of the affected states. And sea lion advocates say about 40% of pups born at La Jolla Cove have died this year, which is a far higher mortality rate than the 10% at a nearby beach closed to the public.
The Sierra Club Seal Society says people getting too close to sea lions can separate pups from their mothers and increase the risk of abandonment. The group wants stronger enforcement, including more warnings, citations, and barriers to keep visitors back from the animals. For now, San Diego Park rangers are limited to warnings and reports to NOAA, since the city says enforcement and federal marine mammal laws fall to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. John Fink, KFI News.
We're going to go to the 10 next.
GiveMeTheVIN.com, where you can sell your car in a hot minute. You could try it. Enter your VIN number, and you'll get an offer fast. GiveMeTheVin.com. Their offers beat CarMax and Carvana offers every day. And if they can't do it, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVin.com will get you your check on the spot. Super easy, super fast. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Southland weather from KFI. Low clouds and fog in some areas in the morning, then sunny, highs mid-80s to around 90 for Metro LA. 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. It's going to be windy again in the high desert and the IE. Low to upper 70s for the beaches, low 80s inland OC. Right now, 75 in San Juan Capistrano, and it's 83 in Stanton. It's slow on the 10 in Santa Monica.
We're looking at the eastbound side, and that drive is backing up almost from 20th Street out of Santa Monica. Delays continue across Mid-City all the way to the 5 in Boyle Heights. It's also very tough on the 405. This is northbound getting out of Culver City from Washington as you travel all the way to the 5 merge in Sylmar. Southbound slowing, loading up in West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard all the way to Palos Verdes in Long Beach. A lot of lane restrictions around Trump National in Palos Verdes, waiting for the president to arrive. Supposed to be there, Deborah said, around 6 o'clock this evening. And the drive is going to be really tough as we get closer to that time. We never know exactly where the motorcade is going to pop up, but if you see a bunch of stopped traffic in front of you, it's probably because of the motorcade. 91 eastbound in Anaheim, slowing from the 57 all the way to Green River. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
After a major accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next? That's where Wilshire Law Firm comes in. With over 100 attorneys, we've helped recover more than $3 billion for our clients. Let the firm that's been recognized as #1 in personal injury settlements fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. For a free consultation 24/7, call Wilshire Law Firm, 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm won more top 100 personal injury settlements in 2024 than any other law firm in California, as reported by TopVerdict.com. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS, Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022. 800-764-6022.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit SmileTunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Protect your retirement with gold and silver. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857. Termites active? Call Pacific Coast Termite. No tenting, plus 10% off. Call 1-800-PACIFIC.
This August, choose any 2 offers from American Vision Windows. Give them a call or visit the website today.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
KFI, Los Angeles, broadcasting with 50,000 watts of power, 640 kilograms.
Remember when you used to have a radio to listen to KFI? KFI is on the iHeartRadio app and brings you digital sound. If you haven't heard KFI on the free iHeartRadio app, you haven't heard KFI. AM 640, more stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. The John Kobylt Show. We're on 3 to 6, after 6, John Kobylt Show on demand. And we're live on YouTube, live on X. And if you want to subscribe or become a member, go to youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. And Trump is going to be hosting this dinner tonight at 6 o'clock at Rancho.
He just landed right now at LAX, and you know who's going to be there to greet him?
Gavin Newsom?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so you get out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And then he'll make his way to the golf course or the golf club. Yeah. Channel 5 said that Governor Newsom's going to be there.
Somebody get this on one of the TVs in here.
Channel 5.
So I can amuse myself.
Do you think they're carpooling?
Yeah, I guess Newsom wants to talk his way into the presidential limousine. Because he wants to see what it's. He's so convinced he's going to be the next president. He wants to see what it's like.
He's checking out the leather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like I think he got a ride on Air Force One when Biden was president, and I believe he was coming down the stairway with his suit jacket over his shoulder, looking very casual and entitled. Yeah, he's. All right, we'll tell you more about this as it happens. Now on to Nithya Raman. Nithya Raman running for mayor against Karen Bass, a disaster of a city councilwoman. Do you know in the mayor's race, she lost her own district? She did. They hate her in her district because, you know what I read more than anything else is she doesn't respond to any constituent phone calls, emails, messages of any kind. You get no answer back from she and her staff. They simply don't care. You are stonewalled. And I guess there's enough dumbass socialists that live. She's got like a split district. Some of it is in the really bad area of LA. And I don't mean bad in terms of crime. I mean bad in terms of progressive ninnies, like ultra progressive communists. And that would be places like Los Feliz and Eagle Rock. And what's the Echo Park? And then it lops over the mountains into the San Fernando Valley. Not quite to you in Woodland Hills, but I think more like Sherman Oaks and maybe Encino, Studio City, somewhere along there. I don't know the exact borders. And she has been a chairwoman of the Homelessness Committee for quite some time. So for her to complain about the city's horrific response to all the mental patients and vagrants on the street is infuriating. She's responsible. Whatever Bass does, the city council has the money, and they can also override anything. Including, they can override any vetoes of that Karen Bass issues. I mean, they got a lot of power. It's actually a weak mayor system. There may be more power in the city council. It's divided 15 ways, so it's hard to focus on anyone, and probably 12, 13 out of the 15 are far left wing. Well, she's one of them, and she's in charge of the Homelessness Council. But she relies on reporters not to bring that up and not to say, well, what's your responsibility here since you're in charge of that particular committee? Because she could block legislation or fast track legislation or spending. She's got that power since she runs the committee. Anyway, we're going to let me play you some clips here. She's on the New Yorker Radio Hour. The host is David Remnick. He's very left-wing. Listen to this cut on her plan to get Spencer Pratt voters.
I think what Spencer Pratt was speaking to is a very real frustration with the way that things are going here in the city of Los Angeles. He is speaking to frustrations around persistent homelessness. He is speaking to frustrations about kind of the lack of services around the response to the fires. And so I think the frustrations that he was speaking to were very, very powerful. And yes, I'm here because I'm frustrated too.
You feel that even
wait, stop right there. Stop right there. Again, she is the chairwoman of the Homelessness Committee. When the Palisades fire happened, she never once went to the Palisades. She never spoke about the Palisades. She had no interest. Play some more.
You feel that even though, despite the, let's just put it this way, vast difference between you and Spencer Pratt, that you can somehow get his voters? Because it was about disaffection.
I think I'm hoping that's at least some of them will stay home. I know that. They will say, oh, it's left and lefter, we're not voting for anyone here.
Yeah.
But I hope that I can get some of them. Mm-hmm. And I know when I used to, when I was running for city council, I got Trump ramen voters. Mm-hmm. And the reason I got
Stop. How many Trump voters did Nithya Raman get? How many Trump voters were in her district to begin with? 6? She knows she got. How do you know that you have Trump ramen voters? How do you know that? The ballots are secret. There's no way to know that. That's impossible. She just says stuff. By the way, she seems to have trouble starting to speak. Like the ignition stalls out at the start of a thought. Play some more.
I got Trump ramen voters. Mm-hmm. And the reason I got those voters was because I was speaking to what I would do directly for residents. And in my second election, that what I had delivered for residents.
Now, you endorsed
What happened there?
I needed to cut that off. It's in other clips.
Okay. So let's get to cut number 2 on why she supported Karen Bass.
Now, you endorsed Karen Bass before deciding to run and challenge her. What motivated your decision? When did you decide you'd be a more effective mayor than Karen Bass?
When a sitting mayor asks a sitting council member for their endorsement, you generally provide it, as many of my fellow council members have, because you depend on the mayor to work with them in order to be able to move things forward in your district. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but I had been getting more frustrated with the direction of Los Angeles. I had been very excited about this mayor when she first ran and campaigned for her and endorsed her and, held events at my home for her. And in office, I had seen, particularly over the last couple of years, just a lack of urgency around the issues that I felt mattered most. And in some ways, a complete moving away from the direction that I felt LA needed to be moving. So that included the responses to our disasters, our Palisades fires, and now again, the Boyle Heights fire. Mm-hmm. But also her response to housing issues. Housing, I think, is kind of the key fault line in Los Angeles. We absolutely desperately need more housing.
Stop. All right, this is the problem. She's gonna do the same thing, only worse. Housing is not the problem. Drug addiction and mental illness is the problem. It's the same damn stupid progressive BS. Just bullcrap. And they know it. But housing, you can get control of a lot of money and reward all your friends and relatives and donors through their nonprofits. That is the center of the financial scam, is to say, hey, I've got millions of dollars here for housing. And then everybody starts a nonprofit. It's like, well, I'll build housing for $1 million a unit. $1 million a unit. which is going to take many years to build, and it does not help somebody who's mentally ill or addicted to drugs, many of whom are going to stay on the streets. What are you going to give mentally ill drug addicts beautiful new apartments? So what? So they can take a dump on their own kitchen counter? Or we'll continue with her when we come back. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. President Trump has arrived at LAX. He just got off of Air Force One, and he is walking to, looks like a helicopter. I don't see Governor Newsom there yet. A man has been arrested for allegedly taking photos in a possible attempt to monitor security at President Trump's golf club in Rancho Palos Verdes, and that's where President Trump is going to go. He's expected to be there. Now we're hearing at around 6:30. LA County supervisors have voted to provide funds to small businesses impacted by local emergencies. We will have more at the top of the hour. We're going to go to the 210 next.
When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. You know, they get a handshake or you get a handshake, they get a commission, and it's done. And you may not hear from them again until it's time to renew. Well, your business runs all year, and so do the gaps in your insurance and the risk you're taking. Super Sure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, it can be too complicated to buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits. And they have year-round support for you and your team. And at Super Sure, you can access tools like fine print facts. Now, that translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus, you get a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, and all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com. Supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Southland weather from KFI. It's going to be sunny and hot again tomorrow. Highs just like today, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Crash on the 210 in Azusa.
This one is along the eastbound side of the 210 freeway. It looks like they just slightly shifted the location. It looks like it's a little closer to Irwindale Avenue and low on details. However, big delays, 210 eastbound loading up all the way out of Pasadena, getting away from Mountain. And as Deborah mentioned, Air Force One arrived. The president left the airplane, hopped on to Marine One. So the good news, no motorcade rolling down our freeways during rush hour on a Tuesday afternoon. But traffic is still pretty tough on the 405 southbound out of West LA, leaving Santa Monica Boulevard. Delays and stretches all the way to Palo Verde in Long Beach. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero. You can speak directly with him. I talked with him, and I opened a new account at Infinity Bank. You call 657-223-1000 or visit infinity.bank.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This report is sponsored by Think It Up. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Free shouldn't come with a catch. With iHeartRadio, it doesn't. No monthly fees, no trial periods. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
When it comes to your business, great promotions should do more than just get your name out there. They should drive action. And that's exactly what your business will get from a partnership with iHeartMedia. Imagine your business connecting with music fans and future customers through sweepstakes, ticket giveaways, listener contesting, and local media. Attach your business to high-energy music moments moments built to help grow awareness, engagements, and leads. Getting started is easy. Learn how today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Every day, Californians work hard to build a better future. They deserve leaders who work just as hard for them, not for special interests. In the Assembly, Juan Carrillo is delivering solutions for the high desert, building more affordable housing, investing in good-paying jobs, and lowering costs for hardworking families. Because California deserves problem solvers who deliver real solutions on the issues that matter most. Paid for by Grow California.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Orange County is leading the region and getting a grip on e-bikes and e-motos run amok.
Makes you wonder why others aren't doing more to keep the sidewalks safe.
One other city is starting to get the message, probably because it's an election year.
The city that says they now care about the sidewalks. Tomorrow, starting at noon, Monks and Maryland, always on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
John Kobylt Show, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Moist line is 877-MOIST-86. 877-MOIST-86 for Friday, or use the talkback feature on the iHeart app. We're going through clips of a podcast that Nithya Raman was on with the host, David Remnick from the New Yorker magazine. And let's move on to cut 3 now. Nithya Raman on how she is insisting that all the mental patients and the drug addicts are in the streets, not because they're mentally ill drug addicts, but they don't have a house, so we have to build them a house. Do cut number 3 about the housing crisis. No, is that what I want? Yeah. All right, do cut number 3.
How has the city resisted building housing, and why, and how are you going to change that systemically?
Well, so for decades, multiple people's political careers here in the city of Los Angeles have been really built around saying no to new housing. We had Zev Yaroslavsky and Marvin Browdy, who ran on political platforms, council members and later supervisors who ran on political platforms of ensuring that this city didn't become Manhattan, and passed
all right, stop that. This is what I like about the place, and a lot of people like about the place. It's not Manhattan. It's not endless 40-story apartment towers. It's single-family homes. The best structure to live in for most people are single-family homes. So what she's talking about is bringing apartment buildings into your neighborhood. That's what the state passed a law to allow, overriding local zoning. We've been telling you about this for a long time. It's Senate Bill 9. And LA has been resisting, Karen Bass has been resisting going along with this plan. So what she's going to do is say, yeah. And remember, practically what this means in your neighborhood, somebody sells a house, they'll sell it to a developer who will then put in maybe a 6-story unit or 7 or 8-story unit. And that'll be next to your house. Suddenly it's an apartment building. Some of the apartments might be declared affordable housing. So what are you going to get there? You're going to get, at best, riffraff, at worst, drug addicts and mental patients. There's not going to be parking available. It's going to add to the traffic as you try to get out of your neighborhood and get onto a main road. And then here, they also passed a sneaky law where if you're within like a half a mile of a bus stop, then you're in the density transportation zone or some such nonsense, which means it's like, well, you have mass transit nearby, so we can put in apartment buildings on your block. because we have buses that'll be able to facilitate the new population. Oh, no. Nobody's taking buses. Nobody's taking a train. Nobody wants to get stabbed. Nobody normal is dealing with that. Sometimes cities are full. This is a concept I've never understood, how nobody wants to accept. City of LA is full. Even after we lost a lot of residents with the enforcement of immigration laws, it's still full. Traffic's still backed up everywhere. There's no need for new housing. If the rents go up, well, if you can't afford it, then you can't live here. That's the way of the world. My parents knew this when I was a kid. They would admire some of the homes in the wealthy neighborhoods, and on Sundays, this was their idea of entertainment, we drove into wealthy neighborhoods and looked at the beautiful homes. Okay. None of us ever thought we'd live there because we didn't make the money to live there. There was no resentment. There was no feeling of like, well, we should be allowed to live here. This is income inequality. This is unfair. It's like, well, no. What we have is enough for us. We can't afford to live there, so we don't. And people who couldn't afford our neighborhood, which is lower middle class, if they couldn't afford it, then they didn't live there. Want to play this cut, number 4. David Remnick asks Raman about her allegiance to the modern-day communists, the Democratic Socialists of America. Listen to this.
You've identified yourself as a democratic socialist. What does that term mean to you?
Well, so I talk about myself as a member of our local DSA, of DSA LA. And when I was excited by Bernie Sanders when he ran, and I got excited about the DSA at that time. And when I first ran for office, the local chapter of the DSA was the only organization that was talking about renters and renters' rights, and really talking about making sure that renters facing such a tough environment in this city actually were protected. And I was excited about that. And I joined and have been a member since, and have actually delivered in office some of the strongest renter protections that this city has seen in 4 decades under my leadership, which has been really exciting. I think for me,
wait a second, hold on a second.
Someone who
gets excited about renters protections? Have you seen the house she lives in? Spencer Pratt put it in one of his commercials. If you forgot or you never saw it, go look. What is this phony baloney? I'm excited by renters' protections. What a load of horse crap. If you can't afford the rent, then you can't live there, so you have to move somewhere less expensive. Why is that so complicated? All my life, I never considered any other way to look at a housing situation. I moved around a lot as I went down the radio journey. You moved a lot too, right?
I did.
Yeah. And then moved a few times here in LA. And the override from the first day I moved out of my parents' house, I got my first radio job. It was always, can I afford this? I'd have to get roommates. At times I had 4 roommates, 5 roommates. Sometimes I'd have to move back home in between jobs. I couldn't afford to stay in an apartment. Or my roommate would move out and I'd have to go live with a family and rent out a room somewhere. Oh, I want to talk more about this when we come back, because I've had it. I've had it with this idea, the renters. I know they're a powerful political group and they shouldn't have any more power than anybody else. You can't afford the rent, don't pay the rent. It's not your house. It's somebody else's house. They can charge you whatever they want to charge you. You don't like it, don't live there. The landlord will help you pack. Well, we'll continue this when we come back. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Could have been a close call. I'm Deborah Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, hours ahead of President Trump's appearance at his Rancho Palos Verdes golf club. LA County Sheriff's investigators say they arrested a man on Sunday who was allegedly taking photos and videos at the club and appearing to monitor security planning activities. They say the guy also had hollow point ammunition in his pocket, a loaded gun in his car. Officials say a search of his home found more weapons, body armor, high-capacity ammunition magazines, and notebooks containing concerning statements. Air Force One did touch down at LAX a little while ago, and that's starting President Trump's brief visit to Southern California. He got off the plane, walked over to Marine One, got on it, and he is in the air on his way to Rancho Palos Verdes. He is scheduled to speak at a Republican National Committee event tonight at the golf club, and then he is going to head to Vegas, where he is due to give a speech tomorrow. A new report pinpoints the cause of the Eaton fire in Altadena.
The fire was started by Southern California Edison equipment. That's the finding of the official report from LA County Fire and Cal Fire, which says video shows the exact moment of two electrical arcing events that caused burning material to fall into dry brush, igniting the fire that destroyed thousands of homes and killed at least 19 people. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger says the report confirms what was already suspected.
I've said this all along. Our community deserves transparency, accountability, and access to the facts.
SoCal Edison says it's reviewing the report, but acknowledges that its equipment was likely to blame. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
Officials in Malibu are asking Caltrans and other state agencies to speed up efforts to stabilize PCH in areas threatened by coastal erosion following the Palisades fire. They say erosion along the highway in the burn area is getting worse, and winter storms and expected El Nino conditions could further undermine the roadway if permanent protections are not in place. LA City Councilwoman Isabel Jurado has introduced a legislative package to support Boyle Heights residents dealing with the impact of the warehouse fire. She says her fire recovery and environmental justice package is based on providing immediate relief, accountability, and building lasting community power,
through which Los Angeles Sanitation and the Community Investment Department can propose a total budget of up to $10 million in emergency funds.
She is also asking for complete transparency during the cleanup of the Lineage Logistics warehouse. LA County's Board of Supervisors has approved a motion to help businesses harmed by disasters, such as the Lineage Logistics warehouse fire in Boyle Heights.
Kelly Lobianco, director of the LA County Department of Economic Opportunity, says the motion establishes a small business interruption fund,
essentially offering direct cash relief to impacted businesses who have lost revenue due to traffic, temporary closures, and workforce impacts resulting from the fire and the lingering impact.
Supervisor Hilda Solis also asked the Department of Public Health to explore increased penalties for those who cause environmental and public health disasters. Mark Ronner, KFI News.
The man accused in the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur says he knows who did it.
Dwayne Davis, or Cafe D, sat down for an interview with a local TV station in Las Vegas before his murder trial begins on Monday. Davis says his story about being in the car shots were fired from that killed Shakur in 1996 was made up for a book that he wrote, and he wasn't even in Nevada at the time. Davis says he helped set up Death Row Records, where Shakur recorded and rhetorically asked, "Why would I kill our money like that?" Davis, who's been in custody since his arrest in 2023, says the former head of security for Death Row is the man who organized the hit on Shakur. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
A man who went to prison for manslaughter in his father's killing in 2010 in Arizona has been charged with intentionally setting the biggest of the wildfires burning in Spokane, Washington. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says the guy's been booked on suspicion of first-degree arson in connection with the Old Trails fire. It's the biggest of the three fires that have destroyed at least 700 buildings and forced about 67,000 people out of their homes. Some of the evacuation orders issued because of the fires in Washington state are being lifted. ABC's Alex Stone says people can now start surveying all the damage.
Or they are being at least lessened, where people can start coming back. A lot of the evacuees are now able to come in and start seeing what remains.
We're going to go to the 210 next.
Lasting Smiles dental implants. This summer, it's time to transform your smile with the Lasting Smiles Summer Smile Special. If you've got rotting, decayed teeth, oh, look at that, huh? Open your mouth. Look in the mirror. Isn't that awful? That's what everyone is seeing. Well, you go to Lasting Smiles, you get a free comprehensive dental exam with full 3D imaging, a custom treatment plan, payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. Mention KFI, mention John, take advantage of the Summer Smile Special. LastingSmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE. 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny and hot again tomorrow, pretty much like today. Mid-80s to around 90 metro LA. 90s to the triple digits in the valleys, the high desert, and the IE. Windy again in the high desert and the IE. Low to upper 70s for the beaches. Low 80s inland OC. Right now, 75 in Dana Point. 81 in Anaheim. 85 in Diamond Bar. It's 83 in Simi Valley. The KFI financial update brought to you by SuperSure. SuperSure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform. All your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed up 907. S&P 500 up 136. And NASDAQ up 671. Crash on the 210 in Irwindale.
So this is on the eastbound side, just past Irwindale Avenue. And this earlier wreck should be off to the shoulder now, but we're still seeing quite the backup getting out of Pasadena. Delays overall from Mountain, but it becomes really dense and slow right around Huntington Drive as you continue ahead towards the scene of this wreck. Hey, thanks to Matt in Palos Verdes, who just sent that great footage of Marine One landing over at the Trump National Golf Course. And looks like they've made their way down to Palos Verdes now. The 405 is looking decent, like a normal afternoon. Southbound slowing out of West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard. Heavy and slow all the way to Palo Verde in Long Beach. And northbound slowing out of Long Beach from the 605 in stretches towards the 110 ahead in Culver City, Washington Boulevard, all the way to the 5 into Sylmar. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
If you haven't had a termite inspection in the last 3 years, don't wait for costly damage. Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free termite inspection from a licensed technician. If you have termite activity, we have the right treatment. No tent, no poisonous gas, no move out. Orange oil treatment will have minimal disruption at home with tenants or your business. Get 10% off, a 2-year warranty, and 90 days same as cash. OAC, serving all of SoCal. Call 800-PACIFIC, PacificCoastTermite.com. Some restrictions apply.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena.
Stream it live on Disney Plus and Hulu. And keep listening for the next chance to win your way to be there.
Starting Monday.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival is connecting all of us. Shows, meals, drinks, even a roller coaster ride. All-inclusive 2-night stay at Luxor or Excalibur starting at $330 for two. Visit MGMResorts.com.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. It's the John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6. And then after 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. And let's see. Also, YouTube. We're on live on YouTube, live on X, also known as Twitter. You can subscribe, become a member at youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. All right. I was in the middle of making important points when Deborah interrupted me with more of this news stuff. So, yeah, now there's another, wannabe assassin. I'm just teasing and waving your arms. You're not even paying attention.
I am paying attention.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. I threw my headphones.
You're talking about the guy that was arrested.
No, I was talking about how I was making important points at the end of the hour, and then you interrupted with your news.
Oh, well, it was breaking news. I thought you'd be interested.
I was interested.
Okay, I won't do that again.
No
and then
more
you'll
news?
Be lost. No, I won't give you breaking news. And then you'll be clueless as to what's going on.
It wasn't breaking news. It was your regular newscast got in the way.
Oh, I thought you meant...
No.
Okay.
Just your regular newscast. That sometimes gets in the way, too.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Anyway, I was talking about... I was listening to Nithya Raman talk. Something about her talking... Actually, something about every politician that talks gets on my nerves. I can't take listening to anybody anymore. So we had these clips of Nithya Raman on the New Yorker Radio Hour. And she's talking about we got to build more housing... They never, ever, and God forbid a left-wing progressive like David Remnick, the host, and he's the editor at the New Yorker, would say, don't you think it's the mental illness and the drug addiction that's causing this problem? Huh? Just once consider that, because that's the truth. She's talking about wanting Spencer Pratt voters. The reason people voted for Spencer Pratt is he told the truth. that this is mental illness and drug addiction. But they don't want to spend money treating that. They get a lot more money by making fake nonprofits to do outreach. And you get tens of millions of dollars to build housing at $1 million an apartment. That's the racket. But she's going off of this whole thing about renters' rights, and she gets excited by these laws that help renters. And I'm thinking, let's settle down here a second. These people who are constantly complaining about the rent being too high, there are bad landlords. But if they charge too much rent, you know what happens? They can't rent their place out because other landlords are renting similar spaces for less. That's how the market works. The free market is the only way a modern, successful economy can operate. Civilizations have tried everything over the thousands of years that we have been organized in countries and cities and towns. There's one way to do this efficiently, effectively, a market economy. See what people are willing to pay, adjust the price accordingly. If you charge too much, then you won't get customers. You won't get renters. If you can't afford a place, that's on you. You have to go and get a better job. To get a better job, maybe you need to get better skills or better education, or you got to work more hours, or you got to look for a place that pays more than the place you're currently at if it's the same line of work. You have to change industries. Some industries disappear. I don't understand this. It's always been this way. It was this way for our parents, our grandparents when we were kids, and the way it is now. You see it right before your eyes. Things are changing rapidly. You know, with AI and technology coming, there are whole industries that are slowly disappearing. Nothing you can do about it. So you have to retool yourself to compete. You must compete to make money. And I'm starting to put the pieces together because I read another article today on how the Gen Z crowd is so totally disconnected from normal life. And I want to talk more about that tomorrow when I've got some time. But we started seeing symptoms of this about, 5-6 years ago when they were entering the job market and coming out of COVID, and they don't want to go to work. They didn't want to work. They only wanted to work from home in their beds. And now a few days ago, we learned the term bed rot. They spend all their weekends, the Gen Z crowd, not everybody, of course, in bed, and they just they watch their screens and they order in food, and they don't change their diapers, and they just lay there. They do not engage with people. They do not have friendships. They do not date. They do not go to bars and restaurants. They don't socialize. They don't get drunk. They're not having sex. Apparently, sex is at an all-time low among Gen Z people. They've actually, the phones actually completely rewired basic human nature. They now have no sexual desire for the opposite sex, their own sex, their pets, nothing. They just lay completely inert, impotent in bed.
How do you know that?
I just read this article.
Okay. Well, how do the person that wrote the article, do they go and interview people and say, how's your sex life?
Actually, yeah, a study was done. They're not interested in sex. They're not interested in dating. They're not interested in marriage. And the cell phone and the internet and social media and porn and dating apps, it's actually overwhelmed the natural desire to pair up with another person.
That seems odd to me.
It is very odd. But what you kind of got the sense of, I think, is actually true, and it's true in pretty significant numbers. Again, not everybody. I don't know what the hell I was talking about, but what I was saying is here, if you can't afford something, move somewhere else, get other work. Oh, I was talking about the Gen Zers because they're they're the largest group who want to vote for socialists and communists. Because since they can't make their own money, they don't know what to do. They want other people's money. Like they want my money. Because I lived in dirtbag places. I lived for bad landlords. I slept on the floor. I traveled from town to town like I was part of a traveling circus act. Basically, I was. But in the end, it paid off. And now that I've made some money and put it away, I got these hordes at the gate wanting to take my money. Well, I don't have enough. I'm income inequality. F you, income inequality. You're laying in bed. They actually call it bed rot. They're actually admitting that they're rotting in bed. Well, I didn't do that. Too bad. I got some money you don't. If you'd get out of your bed rot state and start going to work and say, I don't like going to work. There's too many rules. They make me work too long. There's too much stress, too much pressure. Shut up. And I wouldn't normally care. I don't care. If people want to waste their lives, go right ahead. Free country. But what happens is enough people waste their lives, then they start forming a movement. And now the movement is, socialism. Hey, how about we tax you? How about you give us another 10%? How about you go kill yourself? No, I'm not going to do that. That's the source of this. That's what's not discussed. All these beard scratchers in the media going, well, why is America turning towards socialism? Here's why. Because we got a whole generation that had their brains destroyed by phones. They literally don't know how to work. And now they're angry and resentful that they're not getting their piece. In fact, you know who the most left people are in all society? It's people with advanced college degrees and crappy jobs. Because they went into big debt. They're in $100,000 worth of debt. They thought they were going to get these big paydays, but they have garbage degrees in, I don't know, gender studies, and found out there's no jobs for this crap anymore. So now they're pissed off, and now they're voting for Zoran Mamdani or Nithya Raman, who's going to steal money from people who actually got useful degrees. Or, imagine this, I was watching guys on a construction site today, right? Marveling at the hard work that they do. I was in the Palisades watching them build new homes, working really hard, pounding nails, drills, climbing ladders. Not bed rot people. All right. When we come back, I got another socialist to play for you. She's probably going to be the Democratic candidate for governor in Michigan. I'm sorry, make it the governor of Wisconsin. Her name is Francesca Hong. She's the DSA candidate in Wisconsin. She wanted to cancel Thanksgiving. She was asked about it on CNN. I'm going to play you this clip when we come back. It's nuts. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. A federal judge has scheduled the antitrust trial over Paramount's proposed merger with Warner Brothers Discovery, and the union that represents carpenters in L.A. has switched its support in the mayor's race. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour, going to the 4:05 next.
Summer is winding down, but there's time for one more home upgrade. And this August, American Vision Windows wants to help you finish your home projects before fall arrives. Pick any two of our most popular offers: free expert installation, free sound package, free upgrade to Sun Matrix, or we pay your tax, or there's no interest or no payments for 18 months. Pick two of those offers. And imagine this: stunning energy-efficient windows that improve your comfort, curb appeal, and lower your energy bills season after season. With over 1 million windows installed, American Vision Windows has earned the trust of homeowners across California. Visit AmericanVisionWindows.com. I'll give you the number in a moment. The offer ends August 31st. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. Call 888-771-2188. 888-771-2188.
Southland weather from KFI. It's going to be sunny and hot again tomorrow, pretty much like today, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Crash on the 405 in Long Beach. The
It's reported on the southbound side just before Cherry. That's where two cars got into it, now blocking the carpool lane. So that southbound side of the 405, it's going to be pretty tough overall, leaving the 105 freeway. Also in Long Beach on the 91 freeway. This is making your way eastbound at Cherry. That's where we have reports of somebody on the wrong side of the fence on that overpass. So it looks like emergency crews are heading over there just to make sure everyone is safe. You may see some lane restrictions underneath. If you see it, pound 250, keyword KFI traffic. Also, a wreck reported on the eastbound side of the 60 at Atlantic. This is heading into Monterey Park. Two cars got into it, low on details, but watch for some slow traffic out of City Terrace from City Terrace Drive. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Sherry, owner of LifeSource Water. Did you know the city adds chlorine to your tap water? It makes it harsh to drink and rough on your skin. Call us crazy, but we think chlorine's for pools, not the water your family uses 100 times a day. So my family built a filter for your whole home that reduces chlorine and other contaminants from every faucet. Cleaner to drink, gentler showers, all of it. Call us crazy, then call us for a free consultation. 1-800-WATER-99. LifeSource. Taste and feel the difference.
Warranty limitations apply.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with dozens of apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated and easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-priced pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new iHeart podcast where secrets come out, emotions run high, and no topic is off limits. Listen now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
You don't pay for iHeartRadio. Our advertisers do. That's why it's always been and always will be 100% free. Radio, music, podcasts. Download the iHeartRadio app now.
Have you been avoiding shorts or swimsuits because of painful varicose or embarrassing spider veins? Is that how you want to live? West Medical can help. Treatments may be covered by most PPO insurance plans, including Anthem Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and more. Don't ignore leg pain, swelling, or bulging veins. Call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL for your free consultation or visit westmedical.com today. Isn't it time to feel incredible?
Feel incredible.
Why do you love movies? Is it the emotion, the spectacle, the escapism? On Raiders of the Lost podcast, we explore cinema like no one else, including huge interviews with stars like Ryan Gosling on Project Hail Mary.
It was like the Jaws shark. Didn't always work, came with its own problems. That's what made it great. The heart of the movie is Rocky and Grace, and their friendship is hard-earned.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Raiders of the Lost podcast, and listen now.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon Show.
Socialism is on the ballot. What is on their agenda?
The Gary and Shannon Show starts tomorrow morning at 9.
$1,000 giveaway.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Check. That's CHECK. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Check. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. And if you win, you get an email. Check the junk and spam folder. There'll be a new winning keyword tomorrow at 9:20 with Gary and Shannon. All right. Another one of these Democratic Socialist of America nuts is running for governor and is likely to be the Democratic nominee. in Michigan. Excuse me, Wisconsin. I did it again. Wisconsin. The governor is, the gubernatorial candidate is Francesca Hong. So Francesca Hong is likely to be the Democratic nominee for Wisconsin governor. She's a DSA nut. In 2021, she wrote that Thanksgiving should have been canceled in 1621, 400 years earlier. You can guess what her reasons probably are. So Caitlin Collins on CNN asked Francesca Hong if she still wants to cancel Thanksgiving. Listen.
One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
Listen.
I'm a chef. And one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. You know, I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right now, and I think
yes
my background as a chef, will actually help me become a better governor that's able to bring more people to the table.
Was that a yes or was that a no? The question was clear. You think Thanksgiving ought to be canceled? And she says, well, I used to be a chef. I've served Thanksgiving. I've served Thanksgiving food. What the hell? Where do they get these people? She's the leading candidate. These people are crazy. These DSA people are crazy. Does she sound like a governor?
Her being a chef kind of explains the word salad going on there.
Yeah, it's a little echoes of Kamala Harris. Wow. I don't know what's going on. What I have read is it looks like the DSA crowd is extremely motivated, and many Americans have withdrawn from voting, especially on the Democrat side. And so normal people are voting in smaller numbers. The DSA people are voting in much larger numbers. And so now these candidates, there might be a DSA guy who's the Democratic candidate for Senate tonight. There's the Wisconsin gubernatorial candidate here, this Francesca Hong. And some of these people come from cultures that don't seem to appreciate America, capitalism, American history, our American sensibility. I don't think this crowd ought to be in office because they don't like this place. And it's not that they want to improve it. They want to radically change it. They want to kill what America is now and replace it with something from one of their hero countries, like the way Karen Bass obsessed on Cuba. This is dangerous to have people who don't have the slightest idea of American history, except they're all that weird, bastardized, malformed version that they taught at a lot of universities, which said all of America is bad and evil, and capitalism is bad and evil. This system works better than any system in the world and better than any system ever devised. And their system has been proven to be a disaster many, many times over. It never works. It can't work because it involves stealing money from successful people who work hard and giving it to the government, who then keeps some of it. The people who run socialist nations always become rich. But the poor people don't get much of the money. It's a racket and a scam, like all Los Angeles. Speaking of a racket and a scam, they've hired somebody new to determine what the future is for homeless policy in Los Angeles. This job's worth $450,000. Maybe you want to apply. Tell you about it when we come back. Deborah Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
A federal judge in Oakland has scheduled the antitrust trial over Paramount's proposed $110 billion merger with Warner Brothers Discovery for March next year. Paramount previously said the planned takeover would be kept on hold while it defends against antitrust lawsuits filed last month by a coalition of 12 state attorneys general led by California. A preliminary injunction hearing that had been scheduled for yesterday was then canceled. Under an agreement with Warner Brothers, after September 30th, Paramount will have to pay $7 million for every day the transaction doesn't close. The union that represents carpenters in LA has switched its support in the mayor's race to LA City Councilwoman Nithya Raman. Western States Carpenters backed Mayor Bass in 2022. Raman joined union members at an event yesterday to talk about housing affordability.
More homes mean more work. More work means more union jobs, and more union jobs mean more Angelinos earning good wages, supporting their families, building a secure future.
Mayor Bass was in Koreatown yesterday for a ribbon-cutting ceremony on the development of a 19-unit affordable housing project for veterans. The former superintendent for the LA School District was going to be former one way or another.
Newly released documents show the school board was going to either fire Alberto Cavallo or force him to resign. The LA Times obtained a confidential letter from June 8th with accusations of unreported gifts, unreported outside income, donor-funded travel, and gifts from contractors and lobbyists beyond the limits permitted by law. Carvalho's attorneys responded with their own letter calling the accusations legally and factually deficient. Carvalho was LAUSD superintendent from 2022 till he resigned this past June. He's not been charged with wrongdoing and denies any misconduct. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee have voted 12-10 to advance the nomination of Todd Blanche for Attorney General. Democrats argued this morning that Blanche has been acting as President Trump's personal lawyer and not the country's lawyer. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin told colleagues Blanche should not be confirmed.
The political escapade of the last week has made it clearer than ever that Todd Blanche has no business serving as our nation's chief law enforcement officer.
Outgoing Republican committee members John Cornyn and Tom Tillis were against the nomination until the weekend when Blanche said in writing that the administration's proposed anti-weaponization fund was dead. The nomination now goes to the full Senate. And Walmart may owe you money for violating your privacy.
Walmart has agreed to pay over $1 million in a settlement with LA County over privacy concerns. The county went after the mega retailer over allegations Walmart and Sam's Club were giving third parties the personal information of customers and info on what they were buying without customer consent. People who went on Walmart's website between January 2020 and May 2024 will be eligible for a piece of the fund through a claims portal set up by LA County. It's not clear how many people were affected. Jason Nathanson, KFI News.
We're going to the 14 next.
Is it time to downsize? Selling your home doesn't have to be a hassle with Seller's Advantage. You can skip the real estate agents, the commissions, the costly repairs. Here's what Chris Chavez had to say. Well, first of all, they buy your house as is for cash. So Chris is a real customer with Seller's Advantage. And he said, definitely the best company I work with. They offered me more than I expected. The whole process was great. They were helpful, always answered the phone, much better than going through a realtor. Get your no obligation, free cash offer today. Call Seller's Advantage, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, sellersadvantage.com.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 0196-1658, Providence Realty DRE number 01915212.
Southland weather from KFI. Hot again tomorrow. Sunny, mid-80s to around 90 metro LA, 90s to the triple digits for the valleys, the high desert and the IE. Windy again for the high desert and the IE. Low to upper 70s at the beaches. Low 80s inland OC. Right now, 78 in Laguna Woods, and it's 82 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Crash on the 14 in Santa Clarita.
The
This is on the northbound side coming up at Escondido Canyon Road. Everything's out of lanes and traffic is picking up. That northbound side of the 14. Delays leaving the 5 on the breaks in stretches as you continue ahead towards Sand Canyon. And then you've got some more slowing up in the Acton area closer to this crash coming up on Escondido Canyon Road, but it's thinning out quickly. We're also checking out the drive on the 101. This is southbound getting out of Calabasas. Delays from Lost Hills, and it remains heavy all the way to the 170, 134 split. More slowing in Hollywood from Sunset as you roll into downtown Los Angeles. And in Orange County, this is the 5 northbound. Delays out of Irvine leaving Bake Parkway as you continue all the way to Harbor in Anaheim. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Living on the edge is where you thrive, and Toyota takes you there with Tacoma, Tundra, 4Runner, Land Cruiser, and Sequoia. From crystal blue lakes to open plains, Toyota vehicles are built for the ones who pack courage, not maps, the wild at heart. Because we know it's not the destination that drives you, it's seeking the uncharted that completes you. Wherever your horizon leads, we got you. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Toyota makes the vehicles, you make it yours. With Toyota's line of accessories, from lift kits to suspension upgrades, modify your Toyota truck or SUV to suit your off-road dreams. We partner with leading brands like ARB, Rigid, Rhino, and more, so you can customize with confidence. Visit your local dealer for warranty custom work or shop online at toyota.com/accessories. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
Take action for your retirement. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857.
Your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to.
Card decline.
But our dollars could go from Burbank to wherever you are. Take an inflation vacation when you win $1,000.
Chances to win every weekday on KFI AM 640.
Brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys, office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. John Kobylt Show. We just played a clip of Francesca Hong, the DSA woman who's running for governor in Wisconsin as a Democrat. And she had originally said 5 years ago that Thanksgiving should be canceled. She said that, people find Thanksgiving to be incredibly painful. And that's what she said to Caitlin Collins. And I'm thinking, who? Now, it can be incredibly painful because you have family members over that you don't want to see. That I get. But the actual concept of celebrating Thanksgiving, who is it incredibly painful to? Caitlin Collins didn't ask that. And she had written on X or Twitter back 5 years ago, cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. If it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous folks and women, so be it. Because smallpox was spread by the Europeans and it killed a lot of natives. So she was tying in that pandemic with the current pandemic in 2020. But that phrase I read, the event that killed indigenous folks and women, you know how she spelled folks? F-O-L-X. That is ultra woke spelling because the regular folks generally refers to men and women, I guess, in her mind. But F-O-L-X means she's including trans people and non-binary and every other permutation. F-O-L-X. I don't think that caught on. Now, in Michigan, the Democrats actually vote for a woman who spells folks, Folx, and somebody who thinks Thanksgiving ought to be canceled, in part because, hey, the white people started the first pandemic here and killed all the natives with their smallpox. Like people did that on purpose. Francesca Hong. I think she's going to be entertaining. If she gets the nomination tonight, that's going to be fun to watch. The hell is going on? Now, back here in L.A., City Council has authorized in a 14-0 vote. The only one who didn't vote was a councilman who's headed towards trial, another guy, Curran Price. But everyone else was there. They all agreed that they want the city administration to rapidly, see if you could follow this sentence, rapidly procure expert consultant capacity to support the city in developing a new homeless structure with an implementation plan. Any guesses on what that means? Because it's going to cost us $450,000. What it seems to mean is they want to get out of LAHSA because the county already has, the federal government cut off funding, and now the city is left by itself in LAHSA. And, of course, Karen Bass's buddies have been running LAHSA into the ground. So now the city council says, well, we got to do something. Let's rapidly procure expert consultant capacity. Who thinks somebody who looks like a human being wrote that and thought of that? I don't know who that is. That was in the motion. That's what they voted on. They also passed 13-1 a spending plan, $5 million funding to LAHSA anyway, even though they want to get out. Here's another $5 million. See how you can waste this. Only one council person opposed it. There was no discussion at this council meeting on the two items. So they're blowing $500,000 on expert consultant capacity. I guess they're going to hire one of their campaign donors or their friends or their grandmother. This LAHSA thing has been running since 1993. And if you looked on a graph, it would be a straight line up as homelessness has increased ever since they came up with this agency. Which leads me to another story. This was in LAist.com, which is public radio. The LA Olympics, get this headline. The headlines are the funniest part of all these stories. The LA Olympics is expected to displace unhoused people living around venues. Have you noticed the last three things I've talked about? Nobody speaks English. Folks is Folx. A consultant is procure expert consultant capacity. And now you got public radio with an article. They're going to displace unhoused people living around venues. Speak clearly. We're 2 years from the Olympics. LA officials say security requirements. See, the feds are coming in. Trump is coming in. And they're going to start dispersing all the street people, all the mental patients, and all the drug addicts. You're going to have to get out. And they have to figure out where to put them. So all the streets that are filled with all this human debris, and everybody's been begging for 10 years to get rid of them, only now are they going to get rid of them. So that all these foreign delegations and foreign press could be impressed on how orderly LA is. Across the county now, we have nearly 50,000 street homeless. Almost 50,000 1,000. And many of them are near the Olympic locations, like the Venice Beach Boardwalk, the Sepulveda Basin, Exposition Park, the Crypto Arena, Peacock Theater and Convention Center. Those are all going to be venues too. The area around those three buildings, and they're all near each other, downtown LA, saw its unsheltered population increase by about 20% just this year. Can you imagine? This is downtown LA, where they have lost 1,000 businesses. You have the arena, the Crypto Arena, Peacock Theater, Convention Center, homelessness there, 20%. Isn't that one of the places that the homelessness should have gone down? Because economically, it is so important, not only for the residents, but the tourists. The U.S. Secret Service is going to create the security perimeter zones. There's going to be red zones directly around the venues. You'll be screened before entering. Yellow zones, a larger perimeter. Apparently, the vagrants can live in the yellow areas, but not the red areas. You believe this? I've never seen this for any other city hosting any Olympics anywhere in the world. They're going to need a lot of security. Oh, yeah, you're going to need a lot of security. Look at today. Trump came to town, and on Sunday, they arrested a crazy guy who had a ton of weaponry to take him out. There's 1,600 people that they have to move just out of that downtown area, I said, by Crypto and the Peacock Theater. More coming up. Deborah Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. The man arrested for murder in that Chino Hills kidnapping and killing made his first court appearance this morning, and Walmart may owe you money for violating your privacy. We'll have more at the top of the hour. Heading over to the 101 next.
GiveMeTheVin.com. You can sell your car in a hot minute. You just got to try it. Enter your VIN number. Get an offer real fast. At GiveMeTheVin.com, their offers beat CarMax and Carvana every day. And if they can't, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVin.com. You'll get your check on the spot. Super easy, super fast. GiveMeTheVin.com is America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Southland weather from KFI. Tomorrow's going to be just like today. Sunny, hot, 70s to the triple digits. This report brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. Stall on the 101 in Encino.
This one on the northbound side coming up at Haskell has just been cleared out of lanes, but we're still seeing some pretty heavy traffic leaving Laurel Canyon Boulevard. Also, let's check out Long Beach, a wreck on the 405 southbound before Cherry. Should be out of lanes now at last check. They're saying that the carpool lane remains blocked with some pretty slow traffic away from Hawthorne Boulevard. And let's also check out the drive on the 14 freeway. That's in Santa Clarita. Northbound slowing from the 5, looking a lot better by the time you make your way past Placerita Canyon Road. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero, to speak directly to. Call 657-223-1000 or visit infinity.bank.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Now in stock at Lowe's, get the roofing brands you trust, including GAF, Owens Corning, and CertainTeed, with more colors to choose from. Order by 4 p.m. and get next-day job site delivery on select items as early as 6:30 a.m. Delivery Monday through Saturday and select zip codes subject to availability.
Let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until renewal. Well, your business runs all year round, and so do the gaps and the risk. That's why I'm introducing SuperSure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, HR manager, it can be really complex just to buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like Find Print Facts, which actually translates your current policy into plain English so you know what's covered and what's not. Plus, they have a business value calculator so you can get an idea of what your business is worth so you actually know what you need to protect it. Go to supersure.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
I suffered from chronic knee, hip, and back pain for many years.
This is Emily, and this is her Good Feet story.
I was unable to take a walk around my neighborhood, and nothing alleviated the pain. Oh, I'm just going to have to live with chronic pain for the rest of my life. I had been toying with the idea of going to the Good Feet store, and I went in, I got fitted for the arch supports, and I had a moment where I started crying because I was like, wow, this feels great.
For over 30 years, the Good Feet store has been helping improve the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time.
And a few months later, I was able to walk like 10 miles. I've been wearing the arch supports for about 4 years. They are helpful every single day. My life is more wonderful because I'm just able to experience it instead of being at home, sitting on the couch, not able to move. If you've tried everything and you think that nothing's going to work, I encourage you to go to the Good Feet store because it changed my life and it could change yours too.
See how we can help you with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have 11 area locations. Find the one closest to you at goodfeet.com.
You'll learn more before breakfast than most people learn all day. Wake Up Call with Amy King. Live 5 to 6 a.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Some apps say they're free, then come the fees. Not the iHeart app. It's 100% free. No required subscriptions to access the best live radio stations, free playlists, podcasts, and more. Download the free iHeart app today. iHeartRadio.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Hey, it's Conway Show. President Trump is coming to Los Angeles, so that will clog some of the streets. We'll tell you when he's coming, how long he's staying, and where the streets are going to be filled. That's today after 6 on the Conway Show.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. All right, we're on till 6, as you know. Then after 6 o'clock, there's the podcast release, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. So that'll be there in a few minutes. We're live on YouTube and X right now, and then that becomes recorded video that you can watch later on or whenever you want. You can subscribe, become a member by going to youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. And one more thing, Moist Line is for Friday. You got something to say, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86. Or use the talkback feature on the iHeart Radio app. I was telling you the other day about the bed rot phenomenon. Apparently, they've done some studies, and I think 73% of people, roughly 18 to 29, say they spend their weekends rotting in bed. They call it bed rot. That's the common phrase now. And they sit and they look at their screens and they scroll away, and these are the people who no longer have any connection to other humans. They don't have friendships. They don't date. They don't have sex. They're not drinking. They're not doing drugs. They're not doing anything but laying in bed, looking at their screens and ordering food. Apparently, the common term is bed rot. They've lost the desire to live primarily because having grown up staring at screens and then going through the lockdown, they are terrified of connecting in any way with other human beings. In fact, it's even suppressed their sex drive, which has never happened before in human history. In human history before, the big problem was people's sex drives would get out of control and you'd have all these consequences. And now the smartphone and the embrace of the smartphone and screens by this generation has successfully neutered them. They are so repressed, they're no longer able to get aroused for sex, interested in any way. So they want to sit at home. Another group that wants to sit at home is state workers. They're in an angry war with Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom mandated that July 1st, they have to show up at work 4 days a week. And the state workers were in the streets protesting. They got out of their bed rot state for a few minutes, and they brought their rotted bodies out on the sidewalk and screamed at Newsom in the streets. And Newsom said, I don't care. So effective July 1st, they're showing up. Now, there is an assembly bill written by a bedrotter named Alex Lee. This guy is a full-blown socialist out of San Jose. He's very young, and he's in his 20s. And he lives with his mom. He's never had a job. I forget exactly how he possibly became an assembly person, but he never worked. He lives at home with his mom, and he has all these insane communist ideas. And the new one is Assembly Bill 1729. It would support telework for state workers. And they're claiming that it would save $225 million. They're actually claiming people sitting at home will save $225 million. So they put in a bill, but Newsom's not going to sign this. For whatever reason, as absurd a person as Newsom, he realizes this is really stupid. Well, you know what? It doesn't play well in a presidential campaign that Newsom has let the entire state workforce sit on its ass for 6.5 years. Yeah, I guess that's bad. So he decided to order everybody back to work. And so now this bedrot guy wants to establish, it's complicated. It has to do with establishing a telework dashboard to show the cost effectiveness if state workers work from home, and have a whole evaluation system. And it's try to put like data together to say, hey, this is a better way to run the government, to have people sitting in their pajamas and fuzzy slippers instead of coming into work. And most companies are now requiring most of their workforce to come in most of the time. But state workers are militant about this. What do you think's going on with this crowd? And so they want to hire, it's also a jobs program for analysts. They want to hire dozens of analysts to figure out exactly how much money would be saved if they stop having workers come in the office. All right, we got Conway coming up next, and we'll be back tomorrow at 3. We have Michael Crozier with the news live in KFI 24-hour newsroom.